So what better time to hear briefly from somebody that not only was part of the founding of NCHL when he was way out in the Northwest, running one of these very community-focused organizations, but then catapulted himself to Washington, D.C., where he's been an unbelievable leader. And for him to be here tonight, I'm thinking about who's in the room, and the leaders of both national organizations are here as well. We have a lot of the industry right here, and if we could only agree on what might be good. Rich!
I do want to start by congratulating the National Center on an incredible decade. This has been an incredible time in so many ways, certainly one of the most turbulent decades in our history. The center has distinguished itself not just for its accomplishments, but also for the very kind of innovation and flexibility that's being asked of all of us today. And so I want to congratulate you and wish you well, and again stand with you as we go forward into the next decade. And of course, as we've said already tonight, congratulate Marie on her contributions and her leadership in getting this whole effort to where it is today. So 3 things I'd like to try to weave together quickly here with a few thoughts. The first is, what have we learned? What do we know based on this past decade? The second thing is, what do we still not know? And it's important to know what you don't know. And I won't go into the whole Donald Rumsfeld routine about the knowns and the unknowns and the unknown knowns, but there's plenty of that going around. And then lastly, and most importantly, what do we as leaders have to do when faced with all of that? So to start, first of all, we've worked really hard as a field to try to remove some of the uncertainty in healthcare. We're better today as a result of our efforts this past decade to define and measure quality, to analyze our processes, to extract data, to compare that data, to develop evidence-based practices, measure our effectiveness, and so on. Next, we have a much better grasp of the populations we serve, but we also understand, partially because of the data that we have, our shortcomings in serving various segments of that population, speaking to healthcare disparities. This summer, the 5 major national organizations, AAMC and the public hospitals, the Catholic Health Association, AHA, and our colleagues at ACHE issued a call to action to not just address, but to eliminate healthcare disparities there. We know everything that's going on with the aging of the population, the increase in chronic illness, the shortcomings in particular of a pay-for-volume type of system and a non-integrated system. So the future really is one of more integration, more ability to manage risk because we'll get paid fixed amount of money, and greater public accountability. Look like the question always is, of course, how do we get from here to there? And how do we live in a new world that is so totally different and so 180-degree opposite from where we are today? How will we actually figure out how to keep people out of our facilities? How will we succeed, like no other sector I can think of, by measuring itself by, as one person said, a lack of customers? It is counterintuitive, but it's the future towards which we know we have to work. I mentioned transparency. I think we've done a terrific job this decade in moving forward on that. I don't get many complaints anymore about the demands for measurement and for reporting. I get a lot of problems, a lot of complaints from members who say they're not getting their data back from the national level fast enough, and everything we're feeding them is stuff they've already addressed and they've moved on, and this process isn't serving them well. To my second point, we don't know what we don't know. And it reminds me of some of those Saturday Night Live highlights with Rosanna Dana, who's always saying, it's always something. You know, if it ain't one thing, it's another. Well, I think we can be absolutely certain of that too. It is a series of challenges today, and there are more that we don't know that are coming at us. But one that isn't going to leave us is the issue of funding. How will we pay for health care in this country? Not just under what formula, but at what amount and at what level of contribution and what's the right way to do it. That's been with us forever and will be a huge issue going forward. So what's a leader to do, to the third point? Well, I think the first thing is, we may agree that we're under siege, but the worst thing to do would be to come at it with a siege mentality. That's just not going to get us anywhere. So the notion in a transparent world, the notion of hunkering down, protecting, defending, just doesn't work anymore. I can tell you that from the front lines of advocacy. So a leader helps others see those vulnerabilities, see those problems, but really to see what's possible, even in the midst of great uncertainty. The leader overcomes inertia, helping everybody understand what their role is on the team, what their part is in solving these great problems, and what their role is in creating the future. The leader incites action. Never more have we needed action than today, but incites action by making it clear that inaction is the only unacceptable option. We can't sit back and wait. There will not be any more hard and fast certainty or information. I think there's a difference between clarity and certainty, clarity and data, clarity of direction, but we'll be making it up as we go along. And again, I think if we look back on the last decade of what we've done in the quality and safety world as one example, we can make it different and work it through, or build the bicycle, as we say, as we ride it. It is possible. We've shown that. So in sum, I think the leader makes the status quo very uncomfortable and the future highly attractive. That's the only way we're going to move from here to there, even with all of the uncertainty. So I think today we have the benefits of the information, the tools, we have the benefits of one another, and frankly, I think we have the great benefit of a terrific level of leadership, and I think another generation of leadership coming behind. It's just a matter of how we harness that and focus it and nurture it so that we're up to the tasks that will be inevitable, the challenges that are inevitable coming forward.